Welcome to the WowM podcast. We are here with Thomas McBurney today, and we are super excited to be chatting about Airbnb's short-term accommodation hosting. This is something that I have gotten really fascinated over the last little bit about because I feel like there's so many wow factors that can be implemented into this experience of, staying at a short-term accommodation. I travel a lot and I enjoy those experiences, although I'll say 85% of the time I'm not really getting wowed by any means, but I do feel as though there's an opportunity there for hosts to be able to take advantage of creating an experience for their guests. So, Thomas, when we were talking last week, you kind of intrigued me with, the fact that you're a super host and we're going to get into that. So let's just kind of start off by getting to know, like, how long have you been an Airbnb host, and how long did it take you to get to that super host status?
We actually have only been hosting for the last 2.5 years, I guess.
Okay.
And so Superhost status within the first year. So I think you have to
Nice.
get so many 5-star reviews, and we were able to. And in fact, it was kind of funny because I had originally rented for the whole summer to one person,
Oh,
and
wow.
and then she backed out on me last minute. So we were forced
Okay.
to take short stays rather than really wanted to have 1 week stays all the time because it's just the
Okay.
turnover is very difficult with cleaning stuff and stuff like that.
Right.
So we were forced to take 2-day rentals. So that actually sped up the process for us because we got
Oh.
15, I think it was 15 or 20 reviews that first summer, and that immediately put us into superhost status.
Oh,
Maybe
so that's a bit of
that's
a hack.
a bit of a hack for people is take some
Yeah.
short stays.
Because I do know a lot of people right out of the gate, they wanna set that, baseline of
Right.
4 to 7 nights or whatever it is that some
Mhm.
people, I mean, everyone's plans are different, but, yeah, I guess that's a quick way to sort of fast track your way to Superhost
Right, and
status.
also if you're like, when you're first starting out, like the one I have in Tweed, um, I found that nobody wanted it for a week. They just wanted a weekend getaway. So then
Yeah,
I started thinking about that and thinking, okay, well, what kind of experience can you provide for a one weekend getaway? And what's
yeah,
around in the area? Tweed is just a small town in Eastern Ontario, but there's a great winery there. There's some local restaurants. You're not that far from Sandbanks in Prince Edward County if we want to take a day to drive down there. So you just have to think about what's that experience going to be like for those people for those few days.
yeah,
So
and so what key elements do you incorporate in your experience? I like calling them experiences because I really do think that they're not just stays. You're experiencing something, right? So, what are some key elements that you find are important, in regards to even just from, like, once they've booked, what happens, and then once they're or before they're there, while they're there, and then after? Like, how does that sort of pre, during, and post, I call it the PDP. How does the PDP look for you?
well, I guess I go back to when I started using Airbnbs myself, probably 10 or 15 years ago, whenever it started. And you go places and realize, wow, this is not very exciting, or this is not thought out, or little things like garbage. Like, what do you do with the garbage? And I also don't like the idea when you go somewhere that you've got a list of chores to do for the owner, and then you're paying for a cleaning fee on top of it. So it's
Right.
like I want to simplify that and make that an experience where you enjoy it. You go to a hotel, what that experience is going to be like pretty much on every front. There are always going to be similar experiences.
Mhm.
Um, in a home, it's a little different to do that. So you have to really think about how can I make this an experience. So for me, most importantly, is that everything from the moment they book till they leave is thought through, and that includes things like the messages before they arrive, like not only directions on getting there, but also making sure, like I have auto lights that come on when you open a door. The lights come on so you don't have to run around looking for a light switch
In the dark.
in the dark, exactly, somewhere you've never been. And so things like that, or the first thing that they get is a welcome email that's automated. So I don't have to do any of this. This is all automated.
Yeah, you set it and then you forget it kind of thing,
Yes,
right? Like you have the
but
system.
think about it before you do it. I think everyone should stay in their own Airbnb for a weekend and just think about that experience. There's nothing worse than going to a place where you don't know where the Wi-Fi password is. You're looking on the back of a modem trying to read, what it is. So just post that or send that in a message or do both. We actually have a plaque that says, welcome, your Wi-Fi password is this, so that they can see it, but it's also in a message before they get there.
Right.
Like I like the experience of making sure you have good soaps available. I would put the ones on the wall, the push button ones, so they don't take all your soap. And then my biggest pet peeve in an Airbnb is when they use IKEA pots and pans and IKEA knife set. If you're lucky, it might cut butter. So invest in some nice knives, and if somebody steals it, then use the insurance to buy another one. I've never had anything stolen except for a sheet once, a top sheet. I never understood that. So
maybe it ended up in their laundry or something.
Many years ago, I read a book called The E-Myth Revisited.
Okay.
And the guy who wrote that talked about sorry, I just need to cancel the call here. They talk about a guy that opened an inn somewhere down in Vermont, I think it was, but just reinvented the whole experience. This is way before Airbnb, but it created like just little things like, a chocolate on the pillow and stuff like that. So there was a whole thing. So thinking about hosting as a service and really going that extra step is in my mind. Another great book is about the McDonald's and how I don't remember the name of the book.
Okay.
I'll have to look it up.
Okay. But it's about McDonald's and how
About the experience, creating an experience. And,
yeah, I think it's so important. And the thing is, and that's kind of why I like doing these, because I know that there's people who are aspiring hosts who maybe are current hosts that are struggling. So, hearing it from somebody who is thriving with their Airbnb, it's great information for them to take in.
Yeah.
But I also believe that it really is about the simple things. Like it doesn't have to be extravagant. It doesn't have to be expensive. It's the thought really that backs the experience. And I think it's so important that you think of the little things. And
collaborating like this, like an hour ago, you gave me an idea that I never thought of.
yeah,
You said, what's your domain name? I'm just always looking. I always have to go to Airbnb, look up the listing, copy the link, and then send it to people. It's like, oh, that's brilliant. So now I have stayintweed.com.
That's perfect. And that's the thing. It makes it so much easier for like stayintweed.com. So if anybody wants to check out Thomas's Airbnb, that's a really easy, simple way for us to plug your stay. And so I think every host should do that, and they should name their space, because there's one other episode that I did and she called it the Dragonfly Wilderness. And I thought that's really cool. And like, the thing is if you have guests staying and raving about their stay, they can hashtag that on Instagram. They can hashtag it on Facebook. They can, you know what I mean? Like, it's such a great way to essentially market your listing.
There's something I thought of recently. I'm hoping to do this in Toronto. I have a painting by an artist. It's two women, and they're looking kind of kooky and looking in different directions, and it's called Cameo. And everybody who stays at my place, especially my nieces and nephews and stuff like that, they all take a picture of themselves with this, make a crazy face, and then usually they post it on Instagram. So I think I'm going to incorporate that and have people do that as part of their experience to upload. But what a great way to, I thought of that the other day. I thought, fun.
I actually thought of the other day. So I was thinking, because there's one girl I've been talking to, and she's like, I don't know how to decorate and stuff. And I thought, what would be really cool is to accumulate some local artists. I know some local restaurants will do this, and they'll put local art on the wall with with the option to purchase them, right? So I thought, well, that would be kind of a cool way to collaborate and incorporate local art onto the
Mhm.
walls. And then you don't necessarily have to put it on the front of the photo. Like you could put it on the back of the photo and put it in the stay notes, that if there is any pieces of art that you're interested in, if you want to look behind the piece, the price is there, sort of
Or
thing.
just do a QR code sticker on the corner.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
not in your face, but anybody looking at that could look at that.
Exactly, but I think that that's such a cool idea, because then that's a signature staple for your Airbnb, and maybe some people will wanna go to your Airbnb just to take the picture with the
Right.
painting, right? Like,
Mhm.
that's such a cool idea. Do you have, like, an Instagram page or anything for your Airbnb at all?
No, I have my own Instagram page that I haven't been that diligent about doing
Yeah,
that kind of marketing, and I haven't needed to at the cottage here,
yeah,
because it's been pretty full, and we have a good lead into that property. Um, but it's sold and closing in September, so now I got to
okay.
find something new. But
So are your stays now that you kinda went, like, you said that you were gonna have week-long stays and then that woman backed out. So do you keep it open now, or do you have that minimum stay?
we used to have check-ins on Fridays and 1 week only, but then we weren't getting bookings, and I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to open it up. So we open it up, and a minimum 2 night, so it's fine. So if somebody wants to do Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Right.
then that's fine. And then anything that's not used, we just use it ourselves. Like we'll come up, and if
Yeah.
it's like 2 or 3 days during the week, I'm in real estate, and so it's easy for me to take off for a
Come
couple of
for a little
days.
vacation. Yep.
Yeah, we've got good internet here, so I can always work from here, and you know, and just enjoy a couple of days out of the city.
Yeah, and what would you say that you find is your average stay length?
Oh,
Like, is 2 days pretty popular in
well,
the
it is in Tweed. It is weekends. Um, I think probably 50-50, like 1 week stays. But I
Yeah,
did open it up so if somebody wanted to come Sunday to Sunday or Saturday to Saturday, because I
right,
think if you restrict it too much on the day of check-in,
right,
you lose anybody who can't go that Saturday, so they
right.
go off to the next property.
That's right, yeah. Yeah,
So,
if you put too many limitations on them, they might just go on to the next.
and the other thing for me is, cleaning fees. We keep them. I probably lose a little bit on cleaning fees, but I don't want that to be something that somebody's gonna complain about. I've
Right.
seen some cleaning fees, 250, $300, and I think, "Wow, that's a lot," especially when you look at what they're already paying nightly for the
Yeah.
and I don't know. It's just to me, it's about service and providing value. So
Mhm.
uh, like the little we talked about little things, soaps, and I make sure the knives are good and the cutlery and all that stuff. Pillows, I hate flat, stupid pillows.
Oh, they are awful.
Yeah, so we get nice pillows. It's not that expensive to replace pillows, and if you buy a better pillow and
The
you buy
covers.
the really nice cover, the
Mhm.
wrap cover that protects the pillow if anybody
Yeah,
stains it or whatever, and
right.
then the pillowcases on top of them.
Mhm.
I use IKEA sheets. They're the you buy make sure you buy the 80, sorry, the 80, they have two. There's 50-50 cotton polyester and the 85-15 cotton.
Okay.
So I buy those. They're quite nice. They're very comfortable. I've had people ask me, "Where did you get these sheets?" And they're just
Oh,
IKEA.
nice.
So, and
Yeah,
they're standard, it's all standard. Everything's standardized that way.
yeah.
Um,
And that's a good thing when you're being asked, "Where did you get these?" Like, we wanna go and buy these. That
yeah.
means the quality is there, right? You're not just throwing on cheap Giant Tiger sheets or whatever.
Oh god, no, there's nothing worse than polyester sheets. But
Yeah,
like they're not that much money. I don't know what they're $40 for a set, but I mean, you can spend a lot of money if you want to, but I think that they're good quality and easy to
yeah.
replace, easy to pick up. Like if somebody does steal a pillowcase, you can go buy another one,
Right.
or 10 or whatever. So those are some things. I just like to know that when I show up that I have all these same comforts, and that's what I want. Pets is another problem. We had a pet last week. We usually say, "Do you have pets?" And if they do, then we have an extra fee for cleaning that. But I honestly don't want pets at all in the Tweed house because I live there as well quite often. Um,
Hmm.
so I just don't want it. And people will ask, and if it's a non-allergenic, you know, poodle or something, I'm probably okay with that. But we just had an experience where somebody's here for 10 days at the cottage in Halliburton, and they brought a big white husky,
Oh,
and literally this much dog hair left
oh
behind.
man.
Like it was just painful. And then I had friends staying with me this week. I'm up here with friends and who had an allergy and had to take medication, so I had to come in and have it cleaned. You know, in the middle of that because of that.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. So you kind of have to be careful in regards to allergies and those kinds of things. I guess that makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I mean, if you were to market your property as an animal friendly, then maybe those people who are, severely allergic or whatever, they would go on to a different property so that they don't make that risk that.
It's a tough call because 50% of people have dogs.
Yeah.
So you have to balance that and think, okay, do I want that mess or don't I? Or do you want like this little cutie here? It's
Aw.
non-allergenic. So it just depends. I guess it's a balancing act. You have to figure out, if you're
Yeah.
gonna have pets, then you have to make sure that it's cleaned really
Yeah.
well for the next
Properly.
week.
Yeah. Another question. So before your guests arrive, do you do any type of like pre-stay questionnaire or what kind of like I know you said that you ask them if they have animals. Do you have like a set questionnaire that you ask or that you send them to answer questions or anything?
No, I think that our profile has everything that's on it. My sister is on this one up here with me, and she's really good at hosting and stuff. So she'll write like a nice card with her names, and then for a gift rather than a bottle of wine, she does. We do a what do you call it? S'mores package,
Oh, nice.
which is kind of nice. Everybody can kind of have s'mores over the fire and
Yeah.
stuff, which is it's a nice little touch. We also have garbage packages, which are have recycle and instructions and all that, so that people don't mix up the garbage because the dumps here won't take the garbage if it's mixed up.
Oh, okay.
So everything's in clear bags, and
Right. Okay. And then so that personalization I think is key. So my husband and I, we started going up to Golden Lake, the Greystone, I don't know what it's called, Greystone something. Anyways, they would like I remember the first time we ever arrived, they have all these the cutest little cottages and there's like 8 of them or something. They're all themed differently. But I remember the first time we arrived at the first cottage and they had welcome Michelle and Tim on a chalkboard. And I was like, I love this so much. It just like it sets the experience off on a good foot when you have that personalization. I think it's such a key element.
and the paper that you just wrote on hosting,
Mhm.
do you talk a lot about? I haven't had time to go through it all, but do you talk a lot
I
about
do
that
talk
kind of thing?
I talk a little bit about the personalization, but what I'm actually going to be offering here soon is actually one-on-one experience creation for Airbnb hosts. So I'm kind of
Yeah,
excited to be launching that. Um, and being able to help, set hosts up to essentially from the time that they have a booking to
right,
after they leave and beyond kind of thing. And I do think that as realtors, that, staying in touch with your clients is a key element to referral and repeat business. And so I think that a lot of short-term accommodation hosts are missing the mark with that because it's just like, "Oh, hi, see you later. Thanks for coming. Bye." And then it's the same
right,
thing for every single stay. But if you nurture that relationship with that guest, like for us, like I was saying about Golden Lake, like we go a couple of times a year. Plus, we tell everybody about it because we love it so much.
right.
So, what a great way to build that repeat and referral business for your Airbnb. And I think that if you look at it from a business standpoint, it can be very fruitful, and you can work way smarter and not harder in
Right.
that sense, right?
We, I have one customer here that comes back every year because his son just this is the only place he wants to come, and I think it's little things like we have lawn games and we have like bocce ball and stuff like that. We also have a kayak for smaller people, like
Right.
little short kayaks. So
Okay.
that, and we provide, we have life jackets and all that. So they use that at their own risk, but still we provide it
Yeah.
all. And I think that to get that, if you could get people coming back every year, it's going to be
Yeah.
a friendly experience.
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely, and knowing that you have repeat people coming back, you can try to spice things up and do something different to surprise and delight them, right? Like, maybe not do your normal routine with a brand new client, but if it's somebody who's been even, like, on their 5th visit, like, do, like, a bit of a celebration thing for them and be like, "This is your 5th time here, we're so excited you're back," or you know what I mean? Like,
we
make
have
it.
another thing I do is we have checkout time at 11 and or 12 here, I guess it is, 11 or 12, and then the cleaning person doesn't always come in that afternoon. It might be the next morning. So if the cleaning person's coming in the next day, I'll send them a text in the morning that says, ignore the standardized message that you'll receive today. Um, Please enjoy the full day, or something.
Okay.
And
See, now that's a wow factor because I always hate feeling rushed to get out in
yeah,
the morning, and you're always kinda, like, dreading it, but you know you have to get out, but it's so nice to be able to be told,
yeah.
"Take your time,
I usually
don't
say there's
rush."
nobody coming in right after you, so just enjoy the day.
That's nice. That's a
Yeah,
really nice touch, I think.
yeah, I think so too.
Okay, so to wrap up, I guess, what advice would you give anybody who is aspiring to be a host or who already is a host, but maybe they're not a super host? What is some advice that you can give them that would help them create those unforgettable experiences for their space?
Uh, well, I say, first of all, talk to somebody, well, like you, for example,
Yeah.
if you're creating that beginning to end experience,
Mhm.
I think that somebody should actually think about that, or also stay in your place and just think about it. Like I discovered something here because I haven't really stayed here much. We had no steak knives, and I thought, how did I miss that? So no steak.
Right.
Like we had three, but I mean, if I had 5 people for dinner, I don't have
Yeah. They're
full set of
sharing.
steak knives. They were like one of them, I think, is actually not even a steak knife, but so that's a simple thing that you would pick up on your own if you stayed there. Or I
Yeah.
suppose you could even ask your guests to, privately, is there anything that would make this experience better for you? And I think if you did that for their first several guests, that
Mhm.
would be a great thing to do, you know?
Yeah, I think personally that asking for feedback from every single stay, it would be a key element because there might be things that are new and upcoming or different ideas. And I mean, if, for example, I don't know if you do this, but in the Golden Lake cottages, each one has a customized little journal that everybody goes in and writes their little experience. And I love going because I know that we've been to this specific cottage, 2 or 3 times. I like to go back and find what I wrote,
Right.
right? Because it's so cool. And then to read other people's experiences, I kinda think it's a very intimate, but very, like, I mean, you don't have to put anything super intimate in it, but it's just kinda cool to see
Right.
where they're from and what they did, and so and so got engaged, and, like, those kinds of things I just think are kind of a
The other
cool.
thing we have a binder, a physical binder with things to do in the area, restaurants, and the fire tower you can go climb up, and there's a wolf preserve here. Like things like that, things
Mhm.
to do in the area. A public beach that has bathrooms and playground for kids. So there's stuff like that we have there. I would also not wait until the review to hear from the tenant or the
Right.
guest. Talk to them ahead of time. It's like the first morning. I always say, look, I'll always leave coffee for the first morning, just
Okay.
Keurig, but we also have a regular coffee maker. So
Mhm.
we leave coffee on the counter and sugar and a little bit of creamers, just so that they get through the first morning if they forgot to bring coffee.
Yeah.
But that's a perfect experience or time to ask them, is there anything that you need or anything that we could do to make your stay better?
Right.
If you do all that stuff ahead of time, anticipate so that you don't get that bad review. Like I've
Right.
had all 5-star reviews, a couple fours. I just had a 4-star and I don't understand why. It was everything she said was perfect. And then all of a sudden she dropped down on 2 items. But, it makes you think about it. Okay,
Yeah.
what did I do here that I could do better? Like, why did she mention that?
And that's the thing. If you're checking in during the stay, you're
Mm,
trying to put out those fires before the review period comes, and then
right,
so you can recover without actually having to recover,
right.
basically.
Yeah, and it's the biggest thing about getting a superhost status is getting the higher reviews and also your response rate, like your timing. So if
Yes.
if somebody poses a question to you, get back to them right away. It takes 2 seconds to
Yep.
quickly acknowledge them. Or if you can't get back and you missed it, then apologize and just say, look, I'm really sorry I missed this. Is there something I
Yeah.
can do to assist this?
Yeah, no, I think the communication part is key. And then sometimes too, what's important is some people go and they do not want to be communicated with. Once they're good and they're good, then you can just be hands off and let them do their thing. Some people like that interaction, some people don't. They just want to be
Right,
left alone. They're in their little. So it's good to kind of feel your people out so that you can kind of cater to their
right.
personalities, I think.
And really use the automated messaging because that you can cover most things once you think about the experience, about the moment in fact, before they arrive, the
Yes.
directions. We have very clear directions on how to get here from Toronto. When they arrive, the outdoor light should come on automatically because they're coming in at night sometimes. There should
Yeah.
be, if you have a keypad entry, that's a lot easier because you can change those codes regularly or a
Right.
lockbox or something.
Mhm.
And then think about it, just every step of that trip. They're paying you. They're paying you $200 or $300 a day to stay in your place.
Yeah.
Like, think about that. That's a lot. That's $20 an hour. They're spending, is it, whatever it is, $10 to
I'm
$20
not good
an hour to stay in your place.
at
But
Yeah.
make sure there's propane in the propane tank. Don't have them calling you. There's no propane or there's no
Oh,
toilet
geez.
paper.
Yeah.
So think about, if
Getting
you
it
had
fully stocked.
yeah, if you've got 6 people for a week, how much toilet paper do you need to have there? Stuff like that. So you
Right.
need to really think about the little things. It's the little, what is it? The love is in the details, or
Yeah,
what somebody
that's
says.
true.
Yeah.
Now, one last question, because it just popped into my head,
Mhm.
was, have you changed your nightly rate? Like, did you start high? Did you kind of feel it out to see what people were willing to pay? How did you do that?
So the first summer I went low because I wanted people in there. I
Makes
didn't want to
sense.
sit empty because we closed it. I forget what day we closed. Anyway, it was my first experience being a host. And so I just wanted to make sure we got people in there. And like I said, we had lost somebody that we had for the whole summer, which was a mistake, by the way, to rent it out. It would have been better off doing shorter stays.
Right.
So I kept the rates fairly low. Airbnb is pretty good at suggesting rates
Okay.
based on the neighborhood because often you want to look at your neighbors, but if they're booked up, you don't see what the rates are.
Right.
So there's another program called AirDNA, which kind of assesses the valuations in your area, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, so that's a good site to know.
AirDNA. Okay.
AirDNA, yeah, and so it was more important for me to get people in there because I wanted the reviews. Uh,
Hmm.
Once you get that, then you get superhost status. People tend to treat your place differently if you're superhost. I don't
Yes.
know. It kind of works for you.
That makes total sense. So if somebody wants to go and hang out at your Airbnb in Tweed, you just purchased the domain today
I
and it
did.
is stayintweed.com.
Yes. See,
That's
you even
wonderful.
remembered it. Look
See
at
how
that.
easy that is? So if anybody who is listening wants to go and check out Thomas's Airbnb, feel free to go to stayintweed.com. and check it out. We appreciate you tuning in, and we'll probably have you on another time, Thomas, and we'll chat a bit more.
Great talking to you, Michelle.
Thanks.